This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 640 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you, one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, makers of Summer Games and Summer Games Plus electrolytes. Beat the heat with Summer Games. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is an excerpt from the eventing radio show here on the Horse Radio Network, episode number 193. Show host Chris Stafford talks with Alison Springer at the Rolex Kentucky 3-day event about training and riding the cross-country phase aboard her horse, Arthur. But first, let's hear from our sponsor, Kentucky Performance Products, maker of Summer Games and Summer Games Plus electrolytes. How is Summer Games different from other electrolyte products? Summer Games Plus contains the same electrolyte formulation as Summer Games Electrolyte, which was originally formulated for the horses competing at the 1996 Olympics. The formulation was based on the results of research conducted in anticipation of the Games, which were held in Atlanta, Georgia, known for its hot, humid summers. Summer Games mimics the composition of equine sweat, supplying the horse with the exact amounts and ratios of electrolytes relinquished in sweat. Summer Games Plus contains no sugar, like many popular commercial electrolyte supplements. Summer Games Plus also contains a buffering agent that helps create a soothing gastric environment. This is especially important for horses subjected to the stresses often related to top performance, such as exertion, transportation, and unfamiliar stabling atmospheres. Ask for Summer Games and Summer Games Plus electrolytes at your local tack and feed supplier or visit kppusa.com. Now, on with today's tip.
This was one of the hardest riding years. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is a much harder course than last year, and it didn't walk that way. But I'll tell you, when you start the day and Andrew Nicholson's walking home, yes, you know you're going to have a tough day. And I walked it this morning, had a lovely just little ride on him this morning. My horse, he's been so focused and really mature this year, and walked the course. You know, I had my plan, and I just wanted to watch Andrew and a couple of the big names to begin and see them do it beautifully and keep that image in my mind. So that was a bit of a rough start to the day. But what I did know from watching the people, like, I had to stick to my plan and get it done. And it's cross country. It's not going to be perfect. And it wasn't perfect at the coffin. And it wasn't perfect in the water. And it wasn't, not that he was bad, but things happen and you have to adjust your plan and just get it done. And what I loved about my horse today, he was so focused, and even coming at, he's so scopy and he's so straight. Even coming out of the coffin, he never thought about running out or looking anywhere else. He was looking for the flags, and I have no idea why that Irish bank, the bounce bank towards the end, rode so hard for people this year. I've jumped it every year beautifully, and we railed that, and he kept looking ahead for the flags. He knew he was going to a corner, and, I stayed in the tack and kept him straight, and he jumped it. I mean, it was a super partnership. So
you were amazing, because I know you had a couple of those just momentary rough seconds, but honestly, you rode those jumps so positive that honestly, by the time you were finished with the last element in the combination, you had forgotten about it because you were just so positive. Like, that was perfect. I mean, you were great.
And that's cross country riding. That's what Phillips told me so many times. Is like, that's what good cross country riding is. You can't, mistakes will happen, but you've got to be positive and put your hands down and kick them and go forward and then put the pass behind you and kick on.
Yeah, and when you say that, Alison, I thought from watching on the TV that you had an air of determination this year, like I am. Anyway, we're going to get round with him, and I know where I'm going. He's mature enough. He's responsive. You just look like you've got that extra little bit of grit and your fire in your belly this year.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
I felt that way, though. I will say I felt that way, though, last year. I think perhaps the difference is from last year to this year is a bit of maturity for both my horse and myself that comes from mistakes happening, because I honestly think my round last year was much more, it was much smoother. I think everything went according to plan except for where I hit the dirt. This year, Yes, I was definitely so much more determined because even when things go well, they can still not go well.
Yeah.
And so I was riding it like no matter what, we're going there. What I loved about my horse, I mean, people were, you got to love the spectators here, but I don't know, like maybe people are just really wanting to see me get it done, but people were so loud.
Very
and
supportive with you, I thought.
Supportive, like all the gal planes, they were screaming and my horse's ears were pricked, and I think he's to the point that it's like, wow, these people are here for me. I mean, he was a little freaked out after dressage when everyone kept screaming, but you could also kind of tell he's like, this is kind of cool. Like, this is cool. So there's a little bit more maturity that just comes with experience, and unfortunately, your best experience isn't just everything going right. Like, you have to be prepared. Like, I need to be prepared for plan B, C, whatever it is. So
yeah, absolutely.
I love how it was not my plan to put 4 in the head of the lake to the fish, but I knew the way I landed in. I needed, and I love how adjustable, how easy he was to, he knew it. His eyes were looking ahead, and he was super.
Well, there you go. A fantastic interview with Alison Springer on the Eventing Show. You can go back and listen to the entire program on eventingradio.com or horseradionetwork.com. Just look for the Eventing Show, episode number 193. And don't forget to support our sponsors here on Horse Tip Daily because they make these podcasts possible. Today's podcast has been brought to you by Summer Games and Summer Games Plus electrolytes from Kentucky Performance Products. Ask for Summer Games by name at your local tack supplier or feed store, or visit KPP USA online at kppusa.com. Please stop by the Horse Tip Daily Facebook page and let us know what you think of the tips you hear on the show. It's also a great place to tell us about topics you'd like to hear us cover on the show. You can subscribe to all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network through iTunes or Zune and get your horse podcasts automatically downloaded to your iPod, Zune, or MP3 player. You can also listen to the shows right on Facebook. The player's right there every day. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, go ride your horse! The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.